I'm Danny Flexen,
This is Joe Leigh.
and we're here for our second Keys to Victory special. This one related to the Oleksandr Usyk versus Dereck Chisora fight. I've just butchered Usyk's name twice there, but we know what we're talking about when it goes beyond the actual pronunciations, hopefully. But Lomachenko versus Lopez, previous Keys to Victory, was pretty well received. And so, yeah, big fight. More people certainly picking Usyk than Chisora, it's fair to say, but we're going to pick out some keys to victory, 3 each for either man, but hopefully there'll be a mix of the two. And I'm going to let Joe, age before beauty, go first.
You've said that many times, but it's just...
Well, you're younger and not as beautiful, so it seems to me.
We'll leave it at that, eh? No, it's a good one for me to start, actually, because I'm not sure if you would have started with Chisora, but I've got a good point I want to make, and it's something he's mentioned a few times, and that he's going to have to take some leather. He's going to have to bite down on that gum shield, which is the first key to victory for me. If Dereck Chisora wants to win the fight, obviously wants to, but I feel like he needs to grit his teeth. He needs to take a few punches, and then the later rounds is possibly when he does his work. I think a lot of people have said 1-6 over 7 and 12, but a tired Usyk may not have been the case at heavyweight, cruiserweight, but at heavyweight, how quickly is he going to get tired? That extra weight is not something that can just be flown by. Like we saw against Witherspoon, it was a performance that sort of, I guess you could say the hype around him went a bit blunt, and less people started talking about him. Obviously, it's coming back up now, the fights this weekend, but we haven't seen a proper Usyk at heavyweight, and I feel like with the amount of experience Chisora has at this weight, if he can get it into the later rounds and cancel some shots out and really find some new angles, which it's actually Usyk's better at finding those angles, but if he can work up close with Usyk and really work really rough against the ropes, then I think...
Which key to victory is this? Is this for Usyk or is this for Chisora?
Chisora, he needs to bite down his gum shield. Get close.
All right. I'll kick off with a Usyk then, and it's kind of feeding into what you've just said, although, you know, if he does it for too long, he might fall into your Chisora trap. But I think Usyk needs to really utilise his movement early on. And I think it's for two reasons. One is the obvious one, to tire Chisora out, take the wind out of his sails a little bit, you know, offset him, use his angles, use his speed. You know, Chisora's good at cutting the ring off, and you need to try and offset that. I don't think he'll have been in with anyone who's as good a mover as Usyk before. But I think the other issue is that we've seen Chisora fight tooth and nail for round after round against guys who stand in front of him and unload.
Yeah.
He took a shellacking from Carlos Takam before finding that massive right hand over the top to precipitate the finish. Dillian Whyte both times, just really in it right till the end. Even David Haye, although it ended relatively early, he gave him plenty. He pushed the pace, very good. But what we've also seen from Chisora is that he can be disheartened by people who move around and aren't that easy to hit and don't stand in front of him. Ajit Kabayel probably most recently, Tyson Fury on a couple of occasions, certainly the second time when he was retired in the corner. And I think that's key for Usyk, because if he can't dishearten Chisora early, it's going to be a long, hard night for him. And I don't know if he hits hard enough to dishearten him that way. So I think it's going to be by making him hit thin air, making him miss, and making him chase, moving around, lateral movement, both directions, keep him guessing. I think that's the best way to take away Chisora's urgency and motivation.
Yeah, but then again, Chisora's been training harder than it looks he's trained for any fight in his whole career. He's had longer to train. He's had longer to focus. So I feel like he will have shaped himself in a completely different way, because he's had just under a year to focus on one person, which is, it's rare for someone like Chisora who gets in a lot of scraps. But I honestly feel like there's just not a new version of him, but the way he's been training is so much more like an athlete. He hasn't been playing mind games. I know there's this Dereck, where are you thing, but he hasn't been getting involved. I could see maybe 3-4 years ago, he might have been trying to wind his opponent up more just to get in his head, but he's not playing those mind games. He's not messing with his emotions. And I feel like if he can keep calm through the next couple of days and onto the fight, of course, then that's going to really play a part as well. That's not my second key to victory. My second key to victory.
What was that whole thing about then?
I was just agreeing with what you were saying, but just talking about Chisora.
Oh wow! All right, I was really getting into it as well. I was agreeing with you, but it wasn't even one of the keys to victory.
I know, yeah, no, to be honest, the second one is just, it's for Chisora again, because I'm sure you'll have a Usyk one. I've got an Usyk one next as well. And it's not like a competition as the first one, the best or anything. I just think the punch power of being a heavyweight for so long, the punch power that Usyk hasn't felt, it's always going to be something dangerous for someone who's barely been at heavyweight. And also the fact that Chisora is Chisora, he's crazy in that ring at times, and if he can find a good shot, almost like Povetkin with White, actually, he got knocked down. He would have been disheartened from that, but he got into the later rounds where it wasn't that late, but he still managed a powerful knockout and stay sharp late on. So I feel like if he can stay sharp throughout, stay disciplined, then he's always got a puncher's chance.
Yeah, I agree, and I think I'll do the next one for Chisora because I think it's a lot easier to think of keys to victory for Usyk. To be fair,
Yeah.
but from Chisora's side, and it's not particularly original, but I think
Mm.
I don't want to say he needs to rough him up, although that is part of it. But I think when he is fortunate enough or skilled enough to get on the inside and get past those fast shots and the movement and pin Usyk down, he
Yeah.
needs to keep him there in whatever way he can, whether that's holding, whether that's using his shoulders and his elbows, whether that's leaning on,
Yeah.
whether that's a few dirtier tricks behind the referee's blind side, whatever it takes. Because we didn't interview, we did a Zoom conference call with Dave Allen yesterday, which we were both on, and Dave Allen said he's not Usyk, who he's been sparring, is not a very good fighter at close range at all,
Yeah.
but you can't keep him at close range. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Dereck Chisora is very good at cutting the ring off. But it's whether he can pin him down once he's done that. I don't doubt Chisora's ability to get inside in spurts, and I think there'll be times where Usyk will be willing to stand with him, at least briefly, because he's got the faster hands and he carries a bit of power himself.
Yeah.
But I think then it's important for Chisora to make the most of his extra weight and his extra size and use that to his advantage. In the same way, I suppose, that Tyson Fury did to Chisora, especially in the second fight, and has done to a number of opponents. It's that Tyson Fury blueprint. When all else fails, use your physical advantages. And in this case, that's one of Chisora's biggest advantages in the fight, is the fact that he is so much bigger and heavier.
No, I think you're right in what you say there, and it sort of leads on to my point. I feel like if Chisora wins, there's almost he has to be so down to, I've lost my word in here. He basically has to stick to the game plan. And if he messes up for 1 minute of the fight, he could see the fight go to Usyk from then on. So I feel like for Usyk, as long as he stays unpredictable throughout the fight, which is my third and final key to victory, then Chisora's going to have a hard time, because obviously, like we've said, Chisora is going to have trained very hard so that his cardio can go into the later rounds and he can always find power. He can move out of the way of Chisora's shots, of Usyk's shots. But if Usyk's unpredictable throughout, then that's going to mentally tire Chisora, and also obviously is going to tire his body. As long as Usyk stays consistently unpredictable, finding new angles all the time that Dereck Chisora is going to struggle with defending, then the fight could very well be his.
Yeah, see, my last one, and this could all be rendered dated by tomorrow when this video goes out, but my last key to victory, this one's for Chisora, is who the bleep is going to be in his corner.
Yeah.
Because with a few days to go till the fight, I'm not entirely sure. Now, last time out, we all know, and it's one of the worst kept secrets in boxing, that his trainer in the gym at the moment is his manager, David Haye.
Yeah.
But David Haye, as far as I'm aware, unless this has changed, doesn't have a seconds license or a trainer's license.
Yeah, he doesn't.
And in Chisora's last fight, he had Steve Broughton, someone who's worked with David Haye in the past, in the corner with him. But when I interviewed Chisora a few months ago, he said that Steve Broughton would no longer be in the corner with him. So I don't know if that's changed. Dave Coldwell was drafted in for Chisora's last fight as well to assist.
Yeah.
Very, very experienced trainer and very highly respected,
Yeah.
as he should be, accomplished. But who's going to be in the corner this time? We're not in the bubble, unfortunately, so we'd know by now because we'd see who was walking around with Chisora.
It's literally right opposite my flat, but
Well, unless you've got some, telescopic lenses or whatever, we're not going to know who's accompanying Chisora and making sure he doesn't go off the rails in the final week. But whoever's there with him, it needs to be someone that he will listen to. I know it sounds obvious, but he was with Don Charles for a long time, and he pretty much, maybe not at the press conferences, but in the ring, pretty much did as he was advised. And I think that's incredibly important. So I hope there's a kind of veteran, respected guy like a Dave Coldwell still there. And whoever's the head trainer in the corner, I hope it's someone that Chisora has a healthy amount of respect for and will, do what they say. And it's someone that knows what they're talking about to give him the right advice as well. Because that's hugely important.
Definitely. So is your third key having a good trainer? Is that what it is?
Key to victory is it could make a difference between defeat and victory for Chisora having the right person in the corner. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, it's definitely there's limited ways that Chisora can win, but if he sticks to the way he thinks, a high chance of that happening. He just needs to be so persistent, and it's going to be very, very tough for him. But there's a possibility it's going to happen. And as we haven't seen yet, Usyk might not be that great at heavyweight. He might need to be lighter in order to be the Usyk we've seen before, in order to use his game plan and his skills as a boxer as best as he can. But we'll see, I guess, on Saturday night. And I can't wait. I just think the way Chisora's zoned in right now, I haven't seen it before. I've never seen him this zoned in. And he's had so long to train for it as well. You just never know, man.
Let's do predictions. We might as well. We're not going to get another. Well, I suppose I could do it on my vlog, but no, let's do predictions. I might make a vlog more about the Americans.
Because I just did a little show and I sat on the fence with it. So I want to hear what you think, and maybe it'll change my mind.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I don't mind. I'll get right off the fence. I think Chisora will be dogged and determined. I think he'll be fit and in shape. Obviously, there's a butt coming, everyone can tell. But I just think that as a boxer, technically, Usyk's a level or two above. And I think Chisora, style-wise, is a pretty good, opponent for Usyk's second heavyweight fight. I think even though people say he didn't look great against Chaz Witherspoon, he didn't. But I think he would have learned a lot from it. He'll have got used to how his body feels at that weight. And maybe even if that weight's suitable or not, and he needs to go up or down a little bit. And he'll just be more aware of what a heavyweight punch and his own durability is like. And he's obviously fought at super heavyweight as an amateur. I'm sure he's sparred plenty of heavyweights as well. So he's not completely unaccustomed. And I just think Chisora will have his moments. I think he'll land some big shots, and I think it'll be a test of Usyk's chin and his mettle to get through it. But I think he'll win the vast majority of the rounds, and he'll mark Chisora up. And I think he'll hurt him on occasion. I don't think enough to get a clean knockout or a stoppage. But I think Chisora's corner, depending on who's in there, will pull him out sometime in the later rounds, maybe round 10 or 11.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think Chisora is definitely going to rough him up on the inside, for sure. I think it's going to be a closer fight than you're suggesting. But it just depends on how fit really is Chisora. I feel like as much as I've spoken about Usyk moving up might be a problem, let's be honest, he was that great at cruiserweight and considered probably one of the best, if not the best of all time.
Yeah.
There's no way it's just going to disappear just because he's put on a few pounds, and he's had a year to train for this fight. He knew he was moving up to heavyweight. So it's not just going to come as a surprise that he's hit a bit harder. So for me, I think it's going to be a closer fight. I think there's going to be some rounds where Chisora comes back in. I don't think he's going to get knocked out. I do think it's going to go to decision, and Chisora's going to surprise a lot of people. But I'm going to say Usyk with a close victory on points.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, that's our next on the line. We want to hear what you guys think about our keys to victory, and what have we missed. There's probably some you feel more pivotal, crucial than others, but let us know what you think, and we'll respond to some of those comments. And we'll be back with keys to victory for the next big fight, which I guess, where are we now? I guess would be November what would it be for a keys to victory? Dillian Whyte against Povetkin?
Taylor one or Dillian Whyte.